In Loyalty, I Find Death, by B.M. Levinn. Minamoto no Yoshitsune, born in 1159, was destined for greatness even before he could fully comprehend the heavy weight of his name. The son of Minamoto no Yoshitomo and Lady Takawa, he was born into the heart of the conflict that would shape his life, the Genpei War, a series of brutal clashes between the Minamoto and Taira clans. His father, Yoshitomo, was a powerful warlord, but his untimely defeat at the hands of the Taira left Yoshitsune and his siblings scattered. At just a year old, Yoshitsune's life was marked by tragedy. His father was executed, and his mother fled with him into hiding. Fate, however, did not allow him the peace of anonymity. Lady Takawa was forced to return to Kyoto to save her children, submitting herself to the authority of the Taira. Yoshitsune was sent to the Kurama temple as a child, where he grew up in a world filled with monks, far removed from the politics of the capital, but the quiet life of the temple was never his destiny. The young Yoshitsune was restless, driven by tales of his family's past and the defeat of his father. In the shadow of Mount Kurama, he learned not only the art of meditation but also the secret techniques of swordsmanship. According to legend, Yoshitsune received instruction from the mountain Tengu, mythical creatures known for their martial prowess. Whether real or myth, the stories of his supernatural tutelage spread far and wide, painting the young boy as a figure of destiny, a warrior blessed by the gods. By his teenage years, Yoshitsune had abandoned the quiet monastic life, intent on reclaiming the honor of the Minamoto name. His journey to join his half-brother, Minamoto no Yoritomo, who had begun to rally forces against the Taira, marked the start of his military career. Though younger than Yoritomo, Yoshitsune quickly proved to be a military genius, leading troops with a swiftness and decisiveness that belied his youth. The turning point in Yoshitsune's rise to fame came in 1185 at the Battle of Dan no Ura, a naval clash that would change the fate of Japan. The Minamoto, under Yoritomo's leadership, had waged a relentless campaign against the Taira, but it was Yoshitsune who orchestrated the final blow. His brilliant tactics led to the complete destruction of the Taira fleet. The Emperor Entoku, a mere child, was drowned along with the many members of the Taira clan, sealing their fate and cementing Minamoto dominance over Japan. Yoshitsune's tactics at Dan no Ura were as innovative as they were ruthless. The naval battle unfolded in the narrow straits of the Shimonoseki Strait, where the Taira believed they had the advantage. However, Yoshitsune understood the currents and winds far better than his opponents. He ordered his ships to attack from an unexpected angle, catching the Taira off guard. As the tide turned, both literally and figuratively, the Taira were overwhelmed. With the Taira's defeat, Yoshitsune became a national hero. The country hailed him as the warrior who had vanquished the enemies of the Minamoto, and he basked in the glory of his victories. However, his triumphs on the battlefield did not translate into personal security. Despite his loyalty, Yoshitsune's relationship with Yoritomo was fraught with tension. His elder brother, now the de facto ruler of Japan, grew increasingly suspicious of Yoshitsune's popularity and military prowess. Yoritomo, cautious of any threat to his power, began to see Yoshitsune as a potential rival. The political landscape was treacherous, and Yoshitsune found himself navigating the dangerous waters of court intrigue. Despite his success in battle, he was unable to win over the political elite in Kamakura, where Yoritomo ruled. His rise to fame had brought him powerful enemies, and Yoritomo was among the most formidable. The brothers' relationship deteriorated rapidly, and Yoshitsune's once bright future dimmed. Yoshitsune's downfall was as swift as his rise. After his victory at Dan no Ura, he was named the governor of Iyo province. Yet, this title came with little actual power. Yoritomo, suspicious of his brother's intentions, denied him any real authority. Worse, when Yoshitsune tried to curry favor at the imperial court in Kyoto, he unwittingly triggered Yoritomo's wrath. Yoritomo declared him a traitor, accusing him of conspiring with the court to undermine his rule. Forced into exile, Yoshitsune sought refuge in the northern provinces, where he hoped to find allies who would help him regain his standing. He turned to Fujiwara no Hidehira, the powerful lord of the northern Fujiwara clan, who had been a friend to the Minamoto. For a time, Hidehira offered Yoshitsune protection, allowing him to stay in Hiraizumi, far from the reach of Yoritomo's armies. But the walls of safety began to close in. When Hidehira died in 1187, his son Fujiwara no Yasuhiro was less inclined to risk the wrath of Yoritomo. Under pressure from Kamakura, Yasuhiro reluctantly betrayed Yoshitsune. In 1189, Yoritomo's forces finally tracked Yoshitsune to Hiraizumi, where the hero met his tragic end. Surrounded by enemies, Yoshitsune committed seppuku, the ritual suicide of the samurai, bringing his short yet illustrious life to a brutal close. Though Yoshitsune was gone, his legend lived on. Over the centuries, stories of his bravery, brilliance, and betrayal captivated the imagination of Japan. He was immortalized in literature, theater, and folklore, his tale becoming one of the most enduring in Japanese history. In the eyes of many, Yoshitsune was the ideal warrior, noble, self-sacrificing, and ultimately betrayed by those closest to him. Yoshitsune's complex legacy has long fascinated historians and writers alike. Was he merely a victim of Yoritomo's paranoia, or did his ambition threaten the stability of the fledgling Minamoto shogunate? Historians debate whether Yoshitsune could have posed a genuine threat to his brother's rule, or if Yoritomo's actions were driven by a fear that bordered on obsession. In the end, Yoshitsune's life serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of power. Despite his unparalleled skill in warfare, he was unable to navigate the treacherous world of politics. His fate was sealed not on the battlefield, but in the halls of power, where alliances shifted like sands and even the greatest of heroes could be cast aside. Yoshitsune's downfall also highlights the precarious nature of familial loyalty in the samurai era. His relationship with Yoritomo, marked by both admiration and jealousy, serves as a tragic example of how personal ambition and political necessity could tear even the closest of bonds apart. In a world where power was often determined by birthright, Yoshitsune's talents were not enough to shield him from the forces that sought to bring him down. Even in death, Yoshitsune's spirit loomed large over Japan. His story was told and retold in countless forms, from no plays to kabuki theater, each generation finding new meaning in his struggles. To this day, he remains a symbol of the idealized warrior, a figure who represents both the glory and the tragedy of the samurai way. For the Minamoto clan, Yoshitsune's death brought temporary stability, but Yoritomo's fears did not end with his brother's demise. The founder of the Kamakura shogunate would go on to face other challenges to his authority, but none would haunt him as deeply as the ghost of his younger brother. Yoritomo's obsession with securing his power ultimately led to his own undoing, as paranoia and distrust corroded the very foundations of his rule. In the centuries that followed, Minamoto no Yoshitsune's life would inspire not only warriors but also artists, poets, and ordinary people. His legend became a part of Japan's cultural fabric, a reminder of the heights that could be achieved, and the price that had to be paid for greatness. Today, Yoshitsune stands as one of Japan's most enduring heroes, a figure whose legacy continues to captivate and inspire. Yoshitsune's final moments, surrounded by enemies in the northern provinces, paint a vivid picture of a man caught between his destiny and the forces of fate. As he faced his inevitable end, Yoshitsune remained true to the samurai code, choosing to die by his own hand rather than fall into the clutches of his enemies. His death was as dramatic and heroic as the life he had lived, a fitting end for a man whose name would be remembered for generations to come. In loyalty, I find death.